Good morning from Seattle, Washington, and welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and certified past life regression specialist. And today we're going to talk about recognizing your intuition. So welcome. Thanks for joining me today. And we're going to have some fun together. I'm also open to taking a couple of questions for quick intuitive readings. We're going to do a meditation with Fallon and a crystal of the week. So let's get started. Again, it's Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. We're talking about recognizing your intuition. And those of you who've joined me before, this is Fallon. He's a citrine Lemurian quartz. And this is a great way for all of us to get balanced and grounded together in this space, to share some time together with each other, courtesy of Humanity Healing and Om Times. So, aloha from Maui, rubbing it in, huh, Neil? Because we just had so much snow here in Seattle. We're actually thinking about warming up in Hawaii, although I heard Maui got snow too. Probably way, way up though. Anyway, thank you for joining us today, Neil. So, since we're looking at recognizing your intuition, as we run through our body here, a quick check to release blocks and fill ourselves up with healthy energy, courtesy of Fallon. Imagine that you're going to try to connect with your intuition in the way it works most strongly in this time together. So, take a deep breath, take your attention to the top of your head, and then just run your thoughts from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet and then back up again. And as you do that, release the cares of the day so you can get grounded and balanced in this space with us. So breathing down from the top of your head, breathe down your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And then as you reverse that and you're thinking, oh man, I'm feeling nice and settled in my chair, breathe up from the bottom of your feet and welcome in this healing energy that's Fallon. You may experience that as a light, as a voice talking with you, as colors, as pictures, or just know you're connected and having that energy connect with you. Breathing up from your feet, past your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your face, and the top of your head. Awesome. So hello to everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Just putting out here, Brazil, New York, Maui. Awesome. If you have a quick intuitive question you'd like me to look at with you, please add that here in the comments section. But let's get started on the topic I wanted to share with you today, and that's recognizing our intuition. My emphasis in my practice with all of my clients, all of the work that I do, my Facebook and radio show is all to help us remember that we are all innately, all naturally intuitives and healers. We just need to learn how to tap those skills. And sometimes we're shy about it. We don't know what that means exactly. And so that's what I do, is try to help you look at that in ways that help you in your everyday life. In developing our skills, that means some of us are stronger in certain intuitive areas than others. So there's clairseeing, where you're clairvoyant, where you see pictures and colors, auras around people, or you may see something more sharply and that draws your attention. There's clear hearing, where you hear things chatting with you. I do that a lot in my practice. I have a lot of conversations with Fallon. I also speak with the dead and with people's souls, with all of nature. And you can too, if that's one of your strong intuitive abilities. There's also clear feeling, where you're feeling the emotions and feelings, and maybe even thoughts, and clear knowing, which is really hard because you know something, but we're trained to follow the line scientifically or empirically, and that doesn't always work that way. So what I do is talk to people about developing your intuition in the same way as you would if you were learning a foreign language. and then starting to trust yourself. The truth of it is, we are all using our intuition every single day. Every single day. The problem is, because we're not aware that we're using it, we may not take advantage of the information it offers, or we may miss it entirely and then lose out on something that I believe is innately a way that nature uses to help us stay alive and safe. And that makes sense, right? Because our ancestors were all intuitive and their main purpose was staying alive, staying ahead of the gigantic predators who were willing to eat them for lunch. So if you don't know how your intuition works, you're not able to use it when you're in an emergency situation, for example, or it's trying to tell you something and you're not recognizing it. So how do you learn to recognize it? Well, I teach whole classes on that. But let's talk about just looking at what you might want to have for dinner. And that's a really easy way to check. I always tell people to go into a grocery store and take the first fruit you're drawn to and the first one you're not drawn to, the one you really think you like and the one you really don't like, and then take it home and experiment with it using every intuitive sense, seeing, feeling, hearing, tasting, and then keeping a notebook. And if you keep a notebook of your intuitive experiences and your experiments, you're going to start seeing a pattern. And you may find that you're a person who hears better than sees things, and that's fine. Over time, you will develop all the full range of intuitive abilities, or at least most people do. But you'll at least have an idea of which of the ones are most strong in your particular body. So that's what you need to know. So I'll tell you a funny story, and then I'll tell you a really serious one, and that should give you an idea of what I'm talking about today. So intuition comes into play if you experiment, okay? So, and you're experimenting in a non-emergency situation, right? So you're getting to know your intuition in a non-threatening environment, so to speak, where it's safe and you're just learning to associate with it. But if you're picking a food and you're looking at it, you can look at it in terms of your beliefs, okay? What you know is healthy for breakfast, the example. You can look at it in terms of your emotions, what you want and what comforts you for breakfast that particular morning. So your emotions are at play. And then your experiences. What has been your experience with that particular food that you're looking at? And those are the ways our mind and our experiences come into play in looking at a thing. And then that's where your intuition comes into play. And sometimes it can really surprise you. So let me tell you the story of a summer day when I was eating a piece of cantaloupe, fresh cantaloupe from the farmer's market. And at the time, I had 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels and a cat. One of my Cavaliers, his name was Alki, named after the place in Seattle where I live. He had a very, very upset stomach and nothing was working. And so you can imagine how many times we were outside. And I was raising the cantaloupe to my lips and I was starting to eat it. And I'm like, right here. And I hear this voice say, "Feed me to Alki." And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm looking at the cantaloupe like, that came from you. You were talking to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to ignore that. So I started to eat it again and it said, "Feed me to Alki." Okay, so we know the cantaloupe has a lot of fiber. And I did not think that was a good solution for a dog who was having issues like that, tummy issues, which you can understand. I don't want to say, because it's kind of gross on Facebook Live, right? And I'm like, no way, cantaloupe, I am not feeding you to Alki. That is not going to be good for him. But it kept insisting, and I just ignore it, and I ate it. But it stuck in my head. And Alki's tummy problems did not resolve. So I thought, okay, I don't know everything about everything in the world, and certainly not everything about food, but the cantaloupe was very specific. It wanted to be fed to Alki, the dog with tummy problems. So over the course of the next few days, I fed him a few pieces of cantaloupe, trusting the cantaloupe and ignoring what I thought cantaloupe did to the body, and he got better. Okay? So here's a very vivid and wild example of listening to your intuition when there's another being explaining to you that it's going to be helpful in this situation. So I hope all of you get to experience something like that at some point, because it was very funny to me, but also really deeply moving that this cantaloupe was like knowing what was going on in the family and said, I can help this dog if you just feed me to it. So that's, kind of a really dramatic example and of an intuitive connection with things, and of us learning to be humble enough and open enough to go, okay, maybe I don't know everything, and maybe I can experiment here to kind of find out what I was getting from the cantaloupe. So if your intuition runs towards feelings, you could have gotten a very strong feeling that the cantaloupe might have been healthy for my dog Alki. So, but just last night, a really vivid experience with intuition clicked in with me in a very practical manner that I hope sinks in with all of you, because this is our daily lives and trying to keep ourselves and our family members safe. This is my Cavalier dog's Alki, Alki's in a new body now. His name is Ollie. This is Ollie's harness. Ollie is 3.5 years old. He's worn this harness for 2 years. He's a very active dog, but he's not like a guard dog or a German Shepherd or something that, really would get a lot of heavy use out of a harness. He's walking down the street with me every day. But over the last few weeks, I've had just things that pop into my head occasionally about this harness. And it was like, I felt uneasy about the harness. And I took it apart. I looked at it several times over the last few weeks. And then I dismissed my feelings as being overprotective, which is true, and reacting to my dog being bit by another dog on the street a few weeks ago, also true, and just wanting to keep us safe. But last night, as we were getting ready to go out for last call, it hit me again, this very unusual and very strong feeling of uneasiness about this harness, which is considered one of the top harnesses on the market for dogs here in the United States. So I stopped, I took it apart, and I looked at it, and there at the bottom, it was completely unraveling from the main harness part, and in fact, it was hanging by a thread. In other words, this harness could have easily broken on the street, and my dog would have been loose and open to getting scared and running out and getting hit by a car, or simply getting hurt somehow because the harness broke. So what does that tell you? That tells you in every single day in our daily lives, we're getting intuitive information to combine with our actual daily experiences. And we need to be paying attention to that. And I was only partially paying attention to my uneasiness about the harness, because this is a top-rated harness. He's had it for 2 years. There's no reason why it should have worn through like it did. And I caught it just in time. And I would have caught it a few weeks ago if I'd looked even more closely at the various connections on this harness. So that's a very vivid example of how listening to yourself, listening to your intuition on a daily basis will give you more information than you had otherwise. I had no reason not to trust the harness, but I was hearing something that made sense to me finally, and I looked at it, and I was grateful. I was grateful that I paid attention to that uneasiness in me that said something wasn't quite right. So I hope you take this to heart and play with your intuition. Get to trust it. So when you get a feeling like this isn't quite right, you run through that. What is my belief about it? What are my emotions? What is my experience with this particular thing? And now what is my intuition telling me? And putting it all together is how we not only survive in the world, but how we get ahead, how we become our best selves by having this full experience. And the thing that makes me sad is that so many of us are ignoring our intuition and our healing abilities because we think it's woo-woo, or it's not us, or it's a gift that somebody else has. And it's not. You're a soul and a body learning to grow your soul in this experience of a human body, and your intuition and your healing abilities are here to help you make life easier. I'm trying to page through to see if there are comments here. Hi from South Africa, Alaska. Hi from Alaska, Nova Scotia. Wow. Okay, so Kim, you're, are you an empath and a medium? You say your energy is zapped. Kim, I'm going to direct you to energy boundaries. I work a lot with fellow intuitives as well as professionals, including a lot of medical professionals, people who deal with people in crisis every day. And the biggest problem most of us have in our daily lives is that, especially when you call yourself an empath, what you are is a person whose intuition runs towards feelings and emotions, clear feeling. And that means that you're experiencing them more directly than somebody else whose intuition runs in a different way, which means you tend to be more fluid, or your boundaries are less marked or less defined than they could be. And that's why your energy gets drained. And, there are a lot of ways to work with those energy boundaries. There are some good books out there. I work with people one-on-one like that, and really teach them, Fallon and I together, to help you see how your unique energy boundary works, what it looks like, and then how you can shore it up. Because the truth is, all of us have an energy boundary that's part of our body. I like to think of it as an extra body on top of us, and its job is to keep us safe. But if we don't realize it's there and we don't work to keep it healthy, then it just gets worn down over the course of life. It's not a criticism, that's just how it works. And so shoring up your energy body will allow you to be stronger and be able to work with people without taking all of their issues into yourself. So you look at it as like a tuning fork. So here's you vibrating here at this healthy level. Then you see somebody over here who's got some issues, a client, maybe a family member. And as a person whose intuition runs towards feelings, your desire is to help them. And that ends up bringing you down to, not down, but just to that level where they're acting, their energy isn't as strong as it could be. And then you get messed up. Instead of saying, oh, I recognize that you're having some issues, why don't you try to tune yourself to a level where you can work more comfortably. That helps you mentor someone without, and still being empathetic and still being sympathetic to their issues without taking them on yourself. So have at least, if you want to work with me privately, let me know, but at least have your spiritual team, and everyone needs a really strong spirit guide on the job 24/7. And if they're not doing their job, then ask for them to be replaced. And they should be screening the people you work with, and they should be helping you to bolster your energy field, because it's tough out there. So I hope that helps you with that. Please come to Hawaii. Oh, Neil, I'd love to go to Hawaii, Maui. I haven't been there in many years. Oh, I'm having trouble scrolling through this. Somebody's from the UK, somebody from Wisconsin. Okay, good. Judy, exactly. Our intuition does defy logic because it is not logical. Science is logical. Intuition is not. That's why you can make these huge leaps with your intuition. And that's why I tell people to experiment with it so they know how their intuition works. So when something pops up, they can react to it promptly. And I'm experienced enough that when I got feelings about my dog's harness a few weeks ago, I don't know what stage it was in at that point. It might not have been as worn through as it was last night, but I might have noticed. I thought I went through the whole thing, and I probably did. Maybe it was just getting ready to pull apart, because I do sometimes get hits on things that are coming up in the future like that. So, Misty Neighbors, you found out you're allergic to cats, and I have two, and you will not get rid of them. Is there anything energetic that you can do? Boy, that's a tough one, Misty. Well, on a real physical level, I would suggest working with a holistic veterinarian to see what they might suggest to you. I just interviewed Dr. Judy Morgan, who has a practice in New York. You can look her up online. She's going to be on my radio show next month talking about nutrition for dogs, but she runs a holistic practice. You might connect with a veterinarian like that to see if there's something you can do. I know some people wipe them down. If you have two cats, the question would be, did you notice you were having an allergic reaction to them before? Because some people can be allergic to some cats and not to others. And I know you don't want to get rid of them. And I know why, because they're family members, right? So the question would be, when did that first pop up for you? And how? And is there something you can do, like wiping them down every day, to help reduce the allergens that they're giving off, and see if you can do it that way, because you're dealing with your existing cats and not like trying to find a new breed. Don't worry about people talking about hypoallergenic pets, because there aren't any. Dogs or cats. There are simply breeds that react less to people than other breeds, and it's all individual. So a particular cat may have you may have issues with a particular cat, not another. And again, that's addressing getting a cat in the future. On an energetic level, I would put sea salt around the house, and I would invite your spiritual team and their spiritual teams to help remove the doubt and concern that you have, so that your emotions are on an even keel. And I will think about this. Contact me at my Facebook page, The Practical Intuitive Robin M. Fritz, and send me a note there so that I can find you again. And but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that's going to help that. That's a real physical issue. And the question is, if you didn't notice it before, what are you noticing now? It may be a matter of not letting them sleep with you, or being careful about washing your hands. But those are practical things and not energetic things. Energy is energy, but you've got the practical everyday reality of being allergic to cats. Now, some people take medication for that, a variety of things like that. I would certainly talk to your doctor about tips that they have, and do a lot of research online. There's a lot of research out there on various pet sites where people are dealing with this issue all the time, to see what potential solutions there are. Off the top of my head, I don't know of any, but keep working at it and connect with me and let me know how that's going for you. And thank you for your question. We're almost out of time today, and I wanted to talk about the crystal of the week. And the crystal of the week, I've chosen this before, and this is celestite. Now, I know, isn't that the most beautiful thing? It's so gorgeous. And I bought this piece because it was gorgeous, because I call myself a magpie sometimes, because I like things that are really shiny and beautiful. But look here at all the different things that you can see on this beautiful piece of celestite. But celestite is great for a number of things. Great for sleeping, as Kim Valines of Earth, Light, Rocks, and Gems here in Kirkland, Washington said once on a radio show. But for today's subject of developing your intuition, celestite is particularly good because it's good for developing for intuition, for opening up your third eye and your crown chakra, for inviting intuitive information in. It's a healing stone. It helps with pain. It helps bring in love, but it's also great for developing keen minds, right? And mental clarity so that you can work with really complex ideas. So if you're uncertain about your intuitive abilities, Celestite will boost your creativity, and it'll even partner with you so that you can get past the doubt that you might be experiencing in trying any new task. So Misty, there are a couple of really great books out there on crystals. You might see if any of them are useful for allergies to cats. I know I couldn't have a cat for most of my life because my mom was so allergic to cats. She was allergic to people who had cats, so I know what a serious problem it is. But there are holistic veterinarians and holistic human doctors who can help with that situation. And then use your intuition, including your energy healing abilities, to evaluate what those options are. And all of us can do energy healing on a daily basis, top of your head down to your feet and back again in the morning before you get out of bed, which is kind of hard, getting your feet up there to where your hands are. But a practice of daily energy healing helps moderate the fluctuations in our confidence and our energy in our daily lives. And that will help with other things as well as illnesses. But Celestite is a great crystal for developing your intuition. It's also beautiful to have around, and I recommend you check it out. It is very expensive, but you can buy small pieces. And I would recommend, if you buy small pieces, to get tumbled pieces, because they can break off. And tumbled you can carry around in a pocket or a purse or something. Just if you're carrying crystals around on a daily basis and you're sticking them in your pocket, I would definitely put them in a holder of some kind, because they tend to be curious little guys and they'll like jump out of your pocket and go on an adventure. Trust me, it's happened to me before. So I want to thank you for joining me today. This afternoon on my radio show, I'm going to talk about how intuition can rock your world. It's the 18th anniversary of my great awakening, so to speak, when my dog Murphy got us out of the house ahead of a major earthquake here in Seattle. And we're going to talk about various ways that we can develop our intuition. So I'd also like to give you a heads up that my radio show and my Facebook Lives are moving to the first and third Monday of the month rather than every week. It just became too much for me to do it every week on top of all my other demands, and I needed some more time to play with my kids and deal with increasing client work, which I'm very grateful for. But I'm just moving to the first and third Mondays. So this is the third Monday of February. So I will be back here with you on the first Monday of March, and indefinitely as I get my energy back from some surgeries that I had last year that I didn't quite recover from energy-wise, and not physically energy-wise. Anyway, long and short, I really love spending time with all of you here. You can always reach me at my website, robinfritz.com. It's right here on the display, ROBYNFRITZ.com, or at Facebook here at the Practical Intuitive Robin M. Fritz. I so love being part of the Om Times community, and I love sharing this time with you every week. It's a great way for us to come together in community to explore issues that are important to us, and for us to come together and recognize that there may be boundaries between different states or different countries, but the truth of it, we're all in it together. We're all citizens of the planet Earth, and we're all here to grow our souls. So thank you for joining me today. Do tune in to my radio show at omtimes.com this afternoon at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern. It's the Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. So as we end today, cross your hands on your heart, take a deep breath, And going to let go of that connection to Fallon, which can sometimes make us dizzy. Get grounded back in your body. And thanking all of you for joining me. Thanking Om Times and Humanity Healing for joining us today. If you like these broadcasts, please like those pages and my page, The Practical Intuitive. And I offer personal and business intuition, mediumship, animal communication, space clearing, past life and between life regression, soul progression clearing, energy healing, a whole service to help you be your best. And I thank you for joining us today. Hands on your heart again, breathing all that healthy energy in. And do this every day. It'll help. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you back here the first Monday in March. Take care.